What podcast reviewer 37 describes as an indiscriminate hellish ride that I would not wish on my worst enemy. The industry's elite have said time and again, man, fuck those guys. Get ready, if your ears had butts, they'd about to be fucked. Welcome to the Butt Fuck Nowhere Show. Oh man, this is the best theme song, or at least the beat is the best theme. The backtrack is the best one, man. I love that one. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's one of the first ones. I think this might actually be the first one that I made. Was the Buttfuck Nowhere Show one? Maybe it's got a little soft spot in me, but here we are. I don't know what fucking episode number this is because we stopped numbering them, but it's in the 20s somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's a celebratory milestone. Well, not in episode count, but rather reaching a milestone for our own personal goals and achievements. It's been a rather fucking interesting ride these last few weeks. I tell you what.
Oh, let me tell you something, brother. But before we get to that, I'm Josh, and I'm here with Adam.
Howdy.
Who you just heard. And just quickly, if you like hearing us talk on this show, you'll love hearing us talk about actual specific topics such as anime or music or geopolitics and world events, movies, TV shows, even professional wrestling. And you'll also hear us interview a couple of people on the Without Censor podcast. You can listen to it there. All of our podcasts are available at GameRageMagazine.com and wherever podcasts are sold. All right, cool. Now that cheap plug is out of the way, let's get into the business here about Milestones. So we've done a lot of episodes, and maybe going back to obviously the BFN show was one of the first shows that we did, right? Was the Buttfuck Nowhere Show. And at least for this podcast has a lot more meaning, at least for me, because this was the original podcast that we created, 20 years ago.
Not me personally.
No, well, me and Frank. This was like the first podcast. It was me, Frank, and a couple other guys. And I've talked about it a little bit before, but just quick recap. I think that's why I feel, I don't know, so I just like this one because it just reminds me of those times and just sitting in the garage and trying to do, or we weren't even in the garage. We're in a garage now, but we were in Frank's bedroom, his tiny ass bedroom, 4 dudes, sweaty, stinking up the joint, doing stupid voices, making fucking commercials. We made our own commercials, and some of which were hilarious and to this day are funny, but probably not appropriate, but still funny nonetheless. So, are you pulling that out? Pulling it forward? Anyways, so the BFN show, near and dear to my heart.
I was trying to get the goals board up so we can kind of check
shit.
mark.
Yeah. All right, here. Well, fuck. Let me just pull it out here. You talk for a second. I'll pull it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's been recent personal and business goals that we've been working towards that have come to fruition. And this is why we're doing this particular episode. Maybe a bit to circle jerk ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And also just to display to you fine folks that are listening, the loyal marks, the smarks, as one may put it.
Yeah, the Game Rage smarks.
To say that there are no fucking sleight of hands here. We're talking about our progress as it happens, like organically. For sure, one thing that has not seen any type of progress, well, rather Maybe we can even say there's a victory there because we got 2 new followers on social media that maybe we wouldn't have gotten, 4 or 5 months prior. It's just been difficult with social media, but we've had a breakthrough with that, so that's cool. But well anyways, let's get to like what we're getting at.
So let's just go over, and I have to say, I think a contributing, and God damn, this sounds so fucking new age, fucking hippy dippy, soft ass shit. This is what this sounds like right now. But I don't think that it's a coincidence that we've just had our biggest fucking month ever. The month that we decided to write down goals on a board. I don't think that's a coincidence. I do really think doing this actually, sure, I could be crazy, but Jesus, there is a tangible fucking result just because we wrote shit down on a board. And so for Adam and Frank wrote one thing down, but he didn't write anything in his own personal board, so we won't, whatever. But me and Adam wrote down, we all took a square. We made this board. I got a whiteboard, and I put it into 6 fucking squares. And I was like, okay, our April 2024 goals, Adam, Frank, and Josh. So Adam wrote down, don't drink soda. Did you accomplish that goal?
That goal I did accomplish. It was for fasting
for Ramadan, right?
Well, I failed on that. But it was for Lent. I gave it up.
Okay.
So I stuck with that.
Good.
Fast until WrestleMania. That ended up falling through because there were 3 instances in which I ate food and I just said, fuck it. And I already knew. And, it's cool because as long as I am hitting the mark on some goals, it's just a constant state of optimization, right? And obviously I failed fasting until WrestleMania and might have put on a little bit of weight, but yeah, that's one that I missed.
Yeah.
Network with 1 new person. I think I've probably hit up 3 or 4 people. I've been pushing myself to interact with more of the world, I guess you could say, touching grass and making contacts. And that's something I think I exceeded. Listening intently and not interrupting. I've been working on that because I noticed that I say yeah on some of the podcasts, and I've been trying to slow my roll on that. So mainly for the fact that as I was listening, as I've become kind of the social media person for Instagram specifically and making the content for social media, I've been noticing things that I don't like about when we're recording for myself personally.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to interrupt people when they're talking, because it's just when I'm making the clips and I'm using the tools that I'm using to create the clips and the subtitles and stuff, I hate the fact that once you say something and then there's like a yeah in between.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with that. So
sorry, I'm doing it on purpose though.
So that goal, I think I'm on par, or I'm par for the course on that. Doing push-ups, I kind of fucked off on that, but I did start this week and my body has severely atrophied.
My body is now not ready. I'm just kidding. Please stop. Please stop doing this to me.
Reggie Phil Ames or Reggie Ames Phil. And yeah, that's it for me personally. But for having what 1, 2, 3 out of 5 goals, not bad.
That's pretty good. So I didn't really write. I only wrote down 3 goals, and I only hit 1 of them. So I wanted to get back on doing push-ups. So I wanted to do 30 push-ups a day, hourly for 12 hours. All right. I can say that the month is still a few days left, but I'm not going to slack off now. So that goal is complete. I did not get around to filming the Triumvirate show that I want to do this month, but now I'm kind of, there are some other things in the works that have come up that I think I'd like to put some time into those things. It's going to be a video type deal, but it's not going to be the thing that I necessarily wanted to do right there. But that's because that was the best idea I had at the time. So this other thing that that's in the works, I'm not going to talk about it just yet, but that's going to start probably coming out in end of May, beginning of June. So whatever, stay tuned for that. And writing the first season of Ultra Bastard, I started it, but I haven't finished it. So, I mean, I got going on it, but I didn't finish it. And I didn't think I was going to really necessarily finish those things this month, but I said, you got to write it down either way. Now I do. It digs a hole inside me and makes me want to fucking do it even harder. Now that I didn't hit those goals, I can't cross those off this month. So now it enrages me. And now I need to make sure I cross those off, because I'm not taking them down. I think that's the one thing, is I'm not going to remove a goal. I'm going to keep it up there until I complete it. You know what I'm saying? So, well, for me at least, personally, on the personal goals. Now, we also wrote down in the bottom 3 squares, we did our Game Rage magazine goals, like our company goals, right? We did a 1-month box, a 3-month box, and a 1-year box. So we'll just talk about the 1-month box, because that's where we're at. We just completed this first month, essentially, basically. So on that one, we wanted to do one interview podcast. Failed. We didn't get one.
I wouldn't call it a failure. I'm going to go off the rails on this one.
Yeah, do it. Let me hear it.
I have been the person. Well, I don't know how much you've been doing on your end, because I can only speak for myself. But I have been reaching out to people to interview, and to be quite honest, it's been a lot of non-answers. Thanks, but not interested. Shit like that. And one of our 1-year goals is to have 12 interviews, and we're already behind a month. But I've started to accept that while we do have an ambitious goal, I'm kind of going with the go with the flow mentality or perspective, because I can only do so much on my own end to meet somebody halfway. It's going to take somebody else to meet me to say they want to do this. And I just accept that the world is out of my control. I can only control what's right in front of me. So while I am agitated that we haven't gotten a podcast for April, I would love to get to 12, but the way things are going, it's really at the behest of other people. And that kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. And I have to live with that. So not to say that we won't have interviews going forward, but they're just going to have to be, they're just going to have to come up as we find people that are willing to do it. And I think we might have a few people lined up. And I say that in quotations or with optimistic skepticism. But I'm making the effort, and that's one thing that I made a personal goal, was to reach out to more new people and to make connections and stuff. So in order for us to, I think, create mutually beneficial relationships with new people, to have like relationships built on reciprocity. And, you know, it's difficult to try to build a tribe or a community of people that want to have the same goals as you or have a similar perspective. So I guess I wasn't completely agitated or whatever, because I kind of rationalizing everything that has kind of been happening with that specific goal. So I'm upset about it, but I can live with it.
Yeah, I too. Now at this point, with the people that we have sort of, I guess, lined up, now it's just a scheduling issue. Essentially, we have some people that have committed to doing it, which we're grateful for. But obviously, everybody fucking has their own schedules. I mean, we're pretty flexible, but hey, I get it. You know, people have to make time for this shit, and I'm grateful to anyone that gives us the time of day to make time to do this, because they don't have to, as is the majority. Because I've also reached out to people. I've sent a bunch of emails. I'm trying to get anybody fucking that I find interesting, right, to interview or to at least talk to about their experiences and what those are like, as opposed to the ones that necessarily maybe we don't have, right? And yeah, you get it's a lot of non-answers. It's a lot of just ignoring, and then it's a lot of no's. You know, it's that. And like we have talked about a little bit before, if it takes 100 no's to get one yes, cool. And that's the portion I can control. I can control how many nets I'm throwing out into the sea, or how many lines I'm sending out into the ocean. I can't control how many fish are going to tack onto them. But if I control to have the most amount of possibilities of one of those fish biting, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that happen. Whereas opposed to, if I'm not doing it, if you're not going to catch any fish if you ain't throwing any lines out, right? So it's kind of that whole thing of you like you said, go with the flow. It's that be like water, the Musashi-esque mentality of just, you know, be like water. Just be able to go with the flow. And hey, cool. Put shit out there. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And the one things that do happen, great, cool, good stuff. So yeah, while I am also a little agitated, as you said, agitated about it, I'm not furious about it. I'm okay. Some of this wasn't within our control, and I'm not making an excuse. We did not meet the goal, so it is a failure, right? In my mind, I'm not making an excuse for why we didn't do that, but I'm not taking it as hard as I would if we fully failed by not trying, because we didn't do an interview podcast this month, not for lack of trying, right? We definitely put in some effort to get people to come on, and like I said, so far that just hasn't happened again. There's 12 months in this year, right? And our kind of plan was to do one interview a month, and now we're behind. So now that gives us a little bit of fire under our ass to bust even harder, in my opinion, with throwing out lines to see how many, you know, possibilities of people we can get to come and talk to us. So, and it's not to say that we can't do 2 or 3 in a month, or shit. If we go to some of these events that we're talking about going to, potentially, we might be able to do 3 or 4 in a day and just make that up easy. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm going to bank on that, but if the possibility's there, then the possibility exists, and we can potentially capitalize on it.
Yeah, and for my own personal end, I'm not going to lie and say that my prime objective is to find people in the music realm. It mostly is, but I would like to find people in other fields, perhaps science or literally anything. But since I am geared towards more music, I feel as though I've been looking for the cutting edge, as we talk about in other podcasts, is to be tapped in or dialed in, having your ear to the ground. So one personal goal, I guess, that I have currently is working on interviewing a new artist. If I am in fact as good as I think I am, and I know that sounds pretentious, but I really don't care at this point, because if I am to get anywhere, if we're going to get anywhere with any of this shit, there has to be some fucking bombastic idea in our mind that we have to have some kind of self-confidence, right? An unrealistic one, because yes, my ego gets blasted every time I get a fucking no. But with finding a new artist, I guess the way I rationalize it in my mind is that I want to grow with people that are at our level, but I also want to prove that I have foresight about what I see in somebody to say that they either have the right tools or the right mindset, and we're just putting the spotlight on them as much as there's a spotlight on us, to say that we're tapped into seeing how magnificent or awesome people are. And that having that type of skill or having that type of objective to do that, dude, you're trying to find a fucking diamond in a cave where there's literally thousands or millions of rocks. You're trying to find a diamond, and that is an arduous journey to find a diamond. So,
it is. You're gonna find a lot more shitty rocks than you do diamonds, because diamonds are not common, right? So yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and so that one we don't get to check off this month, but the next one, record 4 hours a week, we definitely get to check that shit off, because we fucking obliterated that for sure. I don't know what the hours number is yet, because we haven't finished our recordings for this week, which are going to go into counting for April. But right now we're sitting higher than than fucking 4 hours a week for sure. So I'm very stoked about that. And getting into the next one, and part of the reason why I got this board was because in March we had our worst month ever. We had our worst fucking month for new downloads. And I was like, fuck it, we need to do something. And I'll be honest, I was inspired by hearing the dudes on the Rooster Teeth deal, because they were going out, obviously, but I was inspired by hearing them say something about, they said, oh man, and we just wrote a bunch of stuff on the board too that we were going to do, and now we're getting shut down. God damn it. And so I said, fuck, you know what? That's what we need to do. Because if you fucking write shit down, it makes it real. It makes this intangible thing that we're doing, which is I hate the fucking term content creation, but I mean, fuck, for lack of a better one, that's what we're doing. And so it's an intangible, creating these things out of nowhere, right? Writing the shit down makes it a tangible asset that we can sit here and look at, and we can sort of start to begin to wrap our heads around, right? And it makes it go from unattainable to attainable. And like I said, our worst month ever last month, and now we fucking came in to this month knowing, I was like not disillusioned, but I was fucking sad, man. I was down about it, because I'm like, fuck, what are we doing wrong? What is happening here? How did this happen? How the fuck did this happen to us? And instead of sitting there and focusing on, oh my, pity me, and just sulking about it, no, we didn't do that. We got up off of our asses and we said, okay, we had our worst month ever. What does that mean? That means we need to make some changes. So what are the changes that we need to make? Okay, let's start writing shit down on a board. Got it. Monthly goals. Got it. Okay, cool. Do that. We need to fucking make sure that we're hitting these goals, because we crafted these goals with the intention of not having our worst month ever again, right? And last month we only had 340 something downloads, right? That was our worst fucking month ever. So our best month was, I think, like 453, which was the month previous to that in February. So our goal that we set for this month was to just get greater than 460 downloads, because as it goes, the numbers don't lie. Essentially, most podcasts only grow their downloads by 1% a month. That's basically what you're getting. You're getting 1%. So we figured, our best month, the month before, we were at 453. Okay, 1% of 453 is fucking it's basically 4.5 downloads, right? Is 1% of that. So cool. We'll just make it an even 460 and we'll see what happens. That will get us back to our growing from 1% from our highest months. Because we were down basically 100 fucking we were down to like in the 340s the month before, or the month in March. So we did that. We get to fucking cross that off the board, because we basically doubled our numbers from last month. We over doubled them because we're sitting right now over 700 downloads for this month. So I think it was a combination of not sulking about it, not whining about it, picking yourself up by the bootstraps or the jock strap or whatever you want to call it, and saying, cool, this happened. Yes, we can be sad about it for a minute, but we can't make it about this. Now it needs to be about doing better, right? And I don't know if just doing this made us better, or if we've hit that tipping point where now are having done this for 10 months plus, and now we're starting to see the results of that. If you go listen to the first episode of BFN show as opposed to this episode, I'm sure they're going to sound a lot different.
Yes, I will point out that I listened to All Gas, No Trash, the first episode. Mm-hmm. Not to say the episode wasn't good, but the quality has definitely gotten better. It feels like a night and day type of situation. Maybe in terms of, I'm trying to think if it's enthusiasm or coming in, dialing ourselves up to 11 or something of that sort. But the quality of the podcast, I think, has definitely gotten better with the mics, the fucking mixer. The quality of the production itself has gotten astronomically better.
And I also think that the quality of the content has gotten better in terms of we're not saying like as much. We're getting down to the not interrupting. We're getting to the not interrupting each other as much. Yeah, sure. It's not going to be perfect. I don't know if we'll ever be perfect where we'll never say yeah or we'll never interrupt each other again. Yeah, I'm not saying that we're going to get to that point, but I think we've gotten to the point now where it's the snowball effect is starting to begin, right? And I will agree too, because I used to have these on my phone. That's how I would upload them, is I do it through my phone. So I have all of the like original shows that we did still on my phone. I guess I just never took them off, and they end up in my iTunes playlist just as the raw episode file. And so BFN episode 1 came on literally yesterday or the day before when I was going to my Matrix work job, and I was just listening to the beginning of it, and I said, Jesus Christ, this sounds fucking terrible compared to what it sounds like now. And it just kind of goes to show that the people out there, that if you want to have a podcast, it doesn't matter what it fucking sounds like. We were getting more numbers than most people get with sounding shitty and kind of not really knowing what the fuck we're doing. And we still kind of don't know what the fuck we're doing. However, we've just gotten better at not knowing what the fuck we're doing. And again, increasing the quality of the production itself. I think that's definitely made a big difference. And now we've gotten to the point where I think we've increased the production or the quality of the content itself. And now the snowball effect is hopefully going to potentially begin.
Yeah. I feel not that this is directly related to the downloads, but I do want to talk about some of the changes that we've made just in general.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
So we've made a Discord. We have two different Discords. One Discord is for the public, for anybody that ends up wanting to watch the WWE live events, and also to bullshit, but we haven't really been doing much as far as that because this pretty much takes up all of our time. But we have our own private Discord, and we started organizing the channels. So we have one channel, which is the general chat to kind of bullshit and talk about things. And then we have notes. So any random notes that we want to make about things that we're thinking about, or maybe just things that we're being perceptive to for like social media, things like that. There's a brainstorming channel, text channel. There's a social media content channel that we're using to basically plug any content that we're going to be plugging on all social media. So I'll post the videos and the copy pasta to be applied to pretty much every social media account that we have. I think just having that has helped in terms of organization, because instead of just having one channel to flood everything there, it's everything has a dedicated channel. As far as social media goes, Josh is taking care of TikTok and what was the other one? X, Twitter. And since I'm already on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram. So we've begun to post more reels, and I've actually made small changes over the last 4 weeks. Where I started was I'm just going to have each podcast be a specific color, because my logic was that in order for people to identify what each podcast is, maybe it'll help just to have one dedicated color. So once they see it, BFN for yellow, maybe, well, I don't think that's what it actually is, but as an example, BFN's yellow, Wrestlin's blue, and so on. And then very similarly, within the reel itself, it'll be the exact same color. It'll be the title of the podcast, the episode name, or rather, like before it was just the episode number. And then in the middle of it, we had the text of or subtitles of what we were saying in case people are deaf or they have an audio problem, that they at the very least could listen or read along and hear the conversation. And as things have progressed, I've started to add on different things. We're doing away with the episode count and starting to add in what the topic is for the episode. We've also, I guess you could say, maybe limited the number of hashtags that have been added on to the captions for the reel itself. And we've also limited the caption, or rather the title of the reel itself, to 5 to 7 words, and also included video. So now as you're watching these things, you have something else in the background going on, but you can also read along to the conversation that we're having. And I have to say that it has seemed like it's made a noticeable difference. Sure, we're not getting a lot of followers, but the view counts have gone up. I've started shit posting on my own account and have had some success. And it's just, as these changes are being made, we're making a note of this on the notes channel for the Discord. And I think it's also helped to give visibility to our account to post so many reels on a weekly basis, which is also conjunctively one of the goals within our 1 month goals list. So they kind of coincide with one another. And I don't know exactly if that has played into our favor, but just talking about things that maybe have affected the outcome of exceeding 460 downloads for the month to our new all-time high, our new personal best. Maybe that's one thing or a couple things.
Right. Yeah. And the thing about naming the episodes, I have to give credit where credit for sure is due. I mean, that was really Frank's idea, because he wanted to do that. He was like, oh, I don't want to name the anime. I want to name the episodes for the anime podcast.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, fuck, whatever, dude. Like, if that's what you want to do, you are basically solely in charge of the anime podcast. So if that's what you want to do, yeah, we'll do it. So
fucking brilliant.
I did it. I asked him, what do you want to name the episode? Blah, blah. We did it. And the first episode we did, it fucking immediately did better than the last like 8 or 10 or I don't know. I think we're on episode 13 or 14 for that one. And it's like the second or third highest downloaded one that we've had. And I said, okay, shit, maybe there is something to this. And then that's when I like told you about it. I'm like, hey, maybe, well, obviously this was the first time we did it, and look what happened. It got this episode got 28 fucking downloads, which is, very good for the anime podcast on like day one. So I just was, maybe we should start doing this. So then, okay, cool. We started doing it. And then that's basically Frank's sole idea, was to do that. And we just said, fuck it, let's apply it to everything, because we saw it. It worked on the anime podcast. Let's apply it to everything. And now, because of that, we've now had the highest. We've hit a few, because milestones, right?
I don't want to discredit what Frank said, but we can't say that there's a direct correlation.
Sure.
Yes,
You're right. No, you're right.
But we could speculate that. Yes. Yeah. Not to say that Frank, because I think it probably is the reason, but there's also other shit. We don't know what it is. That's what I'm saying.
I think my point was going to be, I think it's a combination of all these things, multiple times posting a week on social media, taking the reels and making them a certain way now that we're doing it with the video and it took us this whole month to kind of figure it out. And I wasn't really expecting much of a result, because this is us, this, as we call it, this is month 0 now again. And not to go too far off the subject, but I think that's kind of what our recipe for success has been, is we're basically treating everything like it's fucking month 0 all over again. We're constantly adapting and we're constantly trying things differently. And I think that's what's going to lead to hopefully long-term success, because if we're constantly pushing the envelope on what it is that we're doing, that's how we're going to get somewhere. And so anyways, but back to this, because of, I do think, again, it's no coincidence that we made all these changes this month. And now also this month, and again, I can't point to what is the one singular cause. I don't know if there is a singular cause. There might be, like I said, a multitude of things. That's probably what I think it is. But I also don't think it's a coincidence that now that we've done all these changes, now we set some milestones. We set not only the first episode to get 100 downloads within the first 30 days, not only the first episode to get 100 downloads in the first 7 days, but and also not only the first episode to reach a total 100 downloads, but it was the first episode to reach 100 downloads in 24 hours of going up. And that was the wrestling, Game Rage Wrestling Aftermath of WrestleMania 40 episode. That one did gangbusters for some unknown reason. As to why, we'll probably never know what the real reason is. It also increased our subscribers to that podcast. So out of those 100 or whatever people that did it, about 45 new people hit the button to continue listening to us. So that is good, because we're getting new downloads. But okay, for that example, we had about a 40% audience retention rate because they clicked the subscribe button. So theoretically, we can count that as audience retention. If you're going to click it to subscribe, that means you want to be notified when we put up a new episode. So to me, that's audience retention right there. And we've talked about this before, but it's that I'd rather have the problem of more engagement and less followers than having it the reverse, where you have 10,000 followers, but only 1,000 of them interact with you or watch your shit, which is what a lot of people I've noticed have. It's like 10% is like the standard engagement. So if you have 100,000 followers, you're probably getting consistently between 8 to 10,000 people that are watching your reels, or possibly even many less numbers of that are actually commenting or interacting with you in some way. So audience engagement is very low. But for us, it's kind of the opposite, because we don't have very many followers, and we're getting, like, some of our reels, the one you did about Coachella for Instagram, that one got like 1,700 plays or whatever, and it got a bunch of likes and some shares. It's the most we ever had of any reel that we've posted on Instagram. And so I think, again, and that, mind you, is unadvertised. We weren't paying anything for that. That was just naturally put it out, and this is what happened. So I think that the doing all this shit right here, while it seemed fucking stupid at the time, I feel like this is the universe rewarding us and saying, all right, hey, you're on the right track again, fellas. Let's keep this up. Keep going. Don't step off the gas.
I also think how I'm rationalizing it for what's going on too. So there's this guy in marketing, and his name is Howard Moskowitz. And he had this thing called horizontal segmentation, right? So he used to work for Pepsi. He created a whole brand line for Prego, Pepsi, Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of creating one product for everybody, you make multiple products for different groups of people. And I feel as though because of the fact that we made that decision before we had even made a podcast to have multiple, actually, maybe that's not necessarily true because we were adding on things as we were progressing. Nonetheless, what we have essentially done is create different flavors for everybody.
Yeah.
And that has been fucking huge.
And that, I think, is why when you, again, because I have conversations with people on Reddit about, you know, some of these things and numbers and shit like that. And people want to talk about shit. And so, yeah, I'll tell people stuff and, you know, give people advice that I know and things that we've done or haven't done. And it's funny because everybody I talk to, well, the hater people that I talk to, which is most of them, they think that we are unprofessional because we don't spend more time editing these podcasts than we do recording them. And because somebody posted a thing saying, hey guys, how can I help, or how can I get the editing time down? And I just replied with, don't. You don't. And then somebody's like, explain. And I'm like, you don't need to edit your podcast. I said, we don't edit a single episode. I haven't edited anything. The only editing that I do is in Adobe Audition. I throw on the dialogue filter and I give it I do the cleanup or whatever -2. And that's just because we sit kind of close to each other and I don't want any background like echo. And so that deletes any issue. There's no reverb. There's nothing. That's all I do. It takes 10 seconds to click the button and then it applies the filter to the whole recording. And then that's it. That's all we do. And no one seems to wrap their head around. You don't have to do, everybody wants to do this whole highly curated radio style show, right? And I think that's why a lot of people aren't successful, because people don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear, hey, everybody, welcome to the 97.7 fucking whatever. They don't want to hear this extremely curated, scripted bullshit. They want to hear people having a conversation. And to tie it into with what you're saying about the multiple podcasts or creating a flavor, what did you call it? Horizontal segmentation. That right there is also something that no one wants to take my advice on. They want to do a podcast, but then have, let's have multiple topics about, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about that. Okay, well, maybe you're having trouble because every episode's kind of all about something different. So you're never going to maintain or capture the same audience. You should probably do, you want to talk about Star Wars and comic books? Well, maybe you should do a Star Wars podcast and maybe you should do a comic book podcast. Oh, well, then that means I got to record 2 separate things and then I got to edit. Okay, well, hold on. This is your problem right there. You can have the time to record 2 hours of podcasting a week because you don't need to spend, most people on there that do podcasts that are in our similar peer group, I would say, they think that the standard is you should spend however long it takes you to record, you should spend at minimum 3 times that editing in the editing room floor to make sure everything's perfect and everything's so great. And I am of the opposite mindset. It doesn't need to sound super clean. It doesn't need to sound like you're literally in a radio studio. We sit in this garage, and we sit in my garage with no audio treatment whatsoever, and we record this thing. It sounds pretty good, and we're focused on making the content that's entertaining and engaging, not presenting it to appear entertaining and engaging. Because a lot of people get listens just because it sounds good. Oh man, this is really high quality. Sure, that's something that you can do. I'd rather have people come listen to us if we were recording this shit on a goddamn cassette tape than and just come listen to us on that because we engage them and they find us entertaining. I'd rather have them listen to us because of that than listen to us because, oh yeah, I like the sound. It's the engineering of the sound's very good. It sounds very, very professional, and I like that. So I'm just gonna listen to it regardless of whatever the fuck they're talking about. So I do think the best decision we made, as you said, was deciding, okay, we're gonna make multiple separate things. And even over the last 10 months, remember when we started out 10 months ago, and yeah, sure, we're going to have a proper year one recap at the end of this year. And this is one of the things that probably we're going to bring up is the fact that we've continued to add new podcasts to our network. And yes, they're our own podcasts, right? So it's not like we're taking other people into our podcast network that we've created and having them do podcasts. I will say that is on our 1 year list. We're not going to go over all those other lists, but that's on our 1 year list, is to have one person host a show on our network that's not one of the three of us. And that's a goal that we have. So as we continue going forward, even in this year, we have other podcasts that are going to start coming out that are going to be of different topics that we don't currently have. So we started out, our intention was to have 4 podcasts. It was to have the BFN show, the CUP, Star Wars, and shit. Was there a fourth? What was the fourth one? I don't remember, but it was those 3. And when we first started recording, and we said, we're going to record 5 episodes each, because I read some stupid thing on the internet that says that. And God damn it if it ain't true, because those podcasts have all at the beginning been more wildly successful and have had better audience retention initially than when we released episodes just one at a time on a new podcast. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because people have more shit to go listen to and they can decide if they like you or not. Or they can say, hey, they're serious about this. I don't know what it is, but we did some podcasts where we just decided to release episodes as we were doing them when they were new ones, and they didn't perform as well. And the audience retention isn't there. Hell, the best example is the Star Wars podcast. We haven't done a Star Wars podcast since we started this thing, and it still continues to get downloads every month just because there's 5 episodes there. Or shit, I don't even know if there's 5. I think there's 4 because we never recorded the video. We lost the first one. Because that was when we were recording it in Frank's apartment. Remember on the little fucking, God damn it, that what is that thing called? The Zoom pod thing or whatever the fuck it is. It's like a little thing. We didn't even have mics. We just had fucking this little recorder thing, and we were just talking on that. And man, what a time to have gone from doing that and having 3 podcasts to. We basically have like 9 or 10 different podcasts, maybe even more. The board's not up, so I can't count them all right now, and continuing to add more. And then we've upgraded our equipment. We have proper microphones. We have a proper digital mixer. We have, everything going great. And then we also took it seriously and formed an LLC. We started an actual business. The journey thus far has been great. Yes, there has been some shit that's like work. I'm not going to lie. There's some shit that's work. That's just what it takes to get to where you want to go. You got to do the work. You got to do the dirt. Now, sitting here and recording with Adam and Frank every week, it's fucking fun as shit. I love doing it. It's awesome. I have a fun time. This is not work. This is not the work part for me, is sitting here doing this. So it's balancing both of those things, I think, is what leads to the most success, is being able to balance doing what you enjoy and also doing the shit that is required to make that thing successful of what you enjoy, right? And I think we're so far, we're doing all right. We're doing a lot better than I fucking thought we would ever be. I never thought we'd be sitting here. I never thought I'd be sitting here saying, damn, man, I thought it was going to be by the end of this year, maybe. Oh, dude, we had our first 700 month episode, or we had our first 100 download, or not 700 episode, our first month where we got over 500 downloads. I was thinking this was going to be a slow burn until the end of the year and maybe we'd get there. And then I was thinking, hey, maybe by the end of the year we could potentially have one episode hit 100 downloads, not within the first 30 days or the first week or the first day even. I thought, okay, maybe just overall we could have an episode hit 100 downloads. That'd be cool. I'd be cool with that. But in terms of my expectations, I think we're definitely ahead of schedule. And also, I do think setting attainable goals is also very important. It's good for morale. And it's good for when you have a bad month that you can say, okay, let's rethink our strategy. Let's still maintain and create reasonable, attainable goals. And let's fucking knock it out of the park. And this month, shit, we did just that. So I'm optimistic for what the future is going to look like because of the simple fact that we have momentum. We have a little bit of momentum right now. And yes, if this was just some fucking anomaly and next month we get less, sure. I'm not expecting us to necessarily get higher than whatever we're going to have this month. I would like it to, and I'm pushing for that. But as long as we're on the general trajectory of increasing our views instead of going down and backwards, as long as we don't have another fucking March in terms of numbers, I'm cool with that. If this month happened to be an anomaly, cool. If we go back down to, around 500, cool. As long as every month from there we're getting more. It's baby steps, right? So this month we took a little bit of a bigger step than normal, I guess, in the department of downloads, because, like I said, our increase was definitely more than double of what we had the previous month, and it's still going to continue to go up. I don't know what the final number is going to be. Probably on whenever the next BFN episode we do is, we'll fucking talk about it. I'll just have an addendum to this and just say whatever, so people can know what the final numbers for April were, and thus how quarter 2 is starting off, because the end of quarter 3 or quarter 1 was shit. It was real shit. And again, I hate saying it like that because, man, even though it was our worst month, we're still doing better than a lot of other people out there with podcasts. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The people I've talked to are struggling to get 5 to 10 downloads an episode. I think our lowest episodes are like at maybe, I don't know, 10 downloads. It's like our lowest episodes. So we're exceeding that on a consistent basis, which seems to be the norm for other people. That seems to be the general normal amount of downloads you should get on a podcast, is like you should be struggling to get maybe 10. And each of our podcasts that we do consistently, because granted, listen, we're not doing all fucking 12 of them or whatever right now, but the ones we do consistently are getting that. And hell, we've been getting on the ones we had on the Star Wars one, we got like 11 downloads this month. We didn't even do anything. So podcasts that we're not even doing are contributing to the numbers still. So I don't know. I can't explain that. And one of the other things that I've learned out of doing all this is I don't fucking understand how social media works in any way, and I don't think I ever will. I'm going to try, and I'm never going to give up. But Jesus Christ, I don't fucking get it. So, sorry, I went on a bit of a fucking rant there. Do you have any thoughts there, good buddy Adam?
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well, if you guys, I don't know why I'm throwing this in there, but it's, to me, how I quantify what's happening as well is Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, that 20% of the work you do will yield 80% of the results. So it's like saying that you have 100 employers and 20 of the employees that you have are going to yield 80% of the results for the company. And instead of employees, you plug in podcast. And maybe it's almost the math doesn't exactly map out because we have 14 podcasts. And I'd say maybe 4. I don't know what the number is, but let's say it's like 4 or 5 are the ones that are really standing out. And it feels like Pareto's principle is applicable to that, to say that there are standouts within the podcasts that we're doing that are yielding more results than other ones. Not to say that the other ones can't do that, but we know where our strengths are for the podcast themselves. And it just kind of helps quantify to me what's happening. And as far as like the intangible things for myself personally, I don't know why, but I feel like I've been getting a lot of good signs. I'm not a spiritual person at all. I don't believe in God. I don't partake in faith or anything like that. Maybe perhaps besides like myself believing in me. I've had weird things happen, for me talking about the struggles that I've had with trying to get somebody to interview. I had somebody reach out to me and ask, "Hey, when are we going to do this?" I'm like, "Fuck, that's a nice fucking change."
True story.
And for me, as probably being the more active person on social media, I've been disseminating a lot of information for music related things, whether it's talking about artists or it's talking about what's happening with Coachella and stuff. And for whatever reason, people are interested in what I have to say. And I'm not saying that out of vanity. I'm saying that because what's been happening is people have been feeding information to me and saying, well, this is what is also going on. So like I'm aggregating information because people want to share things with me. And I just find that rather strange. And as a result of me feeling the good vibes of the universe, I've been dispelling that to other people or distributing that to other people. This past week, we gave flowers to Rachel Bull, who's at the Pomona Fox Theater, because we thought, fuck, well, dude, for all the shit, for all the no's that we're getting and all the non-answers, at least we got her.
And not only did she give us a yes, but she gave us over 2 hours of her time, man. And that was, I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to put that out.
So when it comes to, getting people involved with this, we got something out of it. We got an interview. We got 2 hours. It's like, how do we pay it forward to her? I mean, she was thankful to us that, somebody was willing to converse with her and talk about her life and her career. She's kind of a big fucking deal. Like, and I won't say exactly why that is, because if you want to listen to that, you can go to the Without Censor podcast to find out why that is. But essentially, she's become the showrunner at the Pomona Fox Theater, which is something I didn't know. I just knew her as probably being an employee with Gallo, who runs a Huevo or a Webo, his own promotion. That's as much as I knew about her. And then I come to find out that she's ascended as far as her role goes. And I just thought, you know what, dude, for somebody that shouldn't have the time to do podcasting because she's so busy, let's go above and beyond for her and get her some flowers and make her a thank you fucking card. And we should be doing that with everybody that comes on to say, dude, thank you for being in the moment with us in space and time to indulge us and to share your life. And then my nephew, who was given an award for like the Board of Education for the district here. I couldn't make it to his thing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make it up to him. I want him to know that while I couldn't go, I still care that his education is important to, well, not just myself, but my family. So I ended up getting him 2 games for the Nintendo Switch for him and his brother, for them to enjoy, which probably doesn't help because it's probably going to distract them from their homework. But nonetheless, I'm spreading out the fucking good vibes, and I'm trying to do that more because I feel like I'm getting more back in weird fucking ways, dude. I think it's compounding karma interest, and I don't try to take things too personally now. It's like, that is the way it is. All things come to pass eventually. But as long as the work's there, as long as is the effort's there, as long as I'm putting into the vault some good vibes, or to put out the good vibes on this earth, I think you can't even come with like an expectation that shit's going to come back to you. You just do it, and fucking maybe you get a bone thrown to you every once in a while. And ultimately, like, dude, we've been seizing the fucking moment. As soon as we got the first sign that we're going in the right direction with the 116 or 117 download stream or downloaded episode, that to me was like, all right, I'm dialed in, dude. People have been trying to detract me to say, oh man, like, as I was saying before about people asking if I was interested in doing things with them or going somewhere, or I said thanks but no thanks. I'm standing on business right now. And I can't let go, dude. This is the closest I've ever come to personal success and personal achievement, personal satisfaction, that I have the killer instinct now, dude. It's programmed. It's in there, dude. And I've been saying no to a lot of people, and it sucks because I want to fucking indulge in human activities and such. And I do every once in a while because I feel like I've earned it. Like, I've put in the work to do all this shit, and I've earned maybe an ounce of recreational activities. But the fact is, I'm still dialed in, and at this point, there's no stopping it.
Correct. There is no stopping it. I just wanted to ask real quick, the award that your nephew got, was it an academic award of some kind?
I don't know. He got some kind of medal. I don't know what the fuck it was.
All right, well, let's assume that it was for, some sort of academics thing. So would you, if that was the case, do you call him the smart one and then the other one's the dumb one? Is that?
No, because he's also been getting he gets a lot of awards too, but this one, yeah.
So then to fuck with them, did you go, okay, these two games are for him, none for you, dummy. You get an award. You
no,
get that. Oh,
it's for both of them. Enjoy, because they both share the Switch.
I was just trying to be funny, but yeah.
I killed your joke.
You did. You fucking murdered it. God damn. Thanks for that. Well, I figured this has been kind of a serious episode, so we need to invite a little levity into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I agree. And there's going to be there's still going to be people that look at that. Oh, you only got 116 downloads on an episode. Cool, man. How about you show me your fucking podcast episode that got more than 116 downloads? And I actually will say the thing corrected itself. It was actually 120 downloads for one in 24 hours. Day one it is 120. So that right there will be people that will say, "Oh, you only got that's it. It's 120 downloads, and you're fucking happy about that." Okay, man. Like I said, you show me your podcast that got more than 120 downloads in one fucking day of being released, and then you can say shit.
Yeah, I don't know what our best episode is in terms of streams for one episode.
Maybe. Well, that's it right there. It's that one.
But I mean, prior to that, if it was 50,
yeah, that's true. I think it was somewhere in the 50s or
if it was
60.
50.
Actually, I think it was in the 60s or 70s. It was the Without Censor Lana Mac interview, actually.
All right, well, consider this. We've 2x'd.
Mm-hmm.
We've 2x'd in terms of streams for within 24 hours. And on average, maybe we've 6x'd because most of our podcasts end up getting, 20 to 30 downloads. So maybe we 4 or 6x'd the streams. So in any way you slice it, we've gone up.
Fuck yeah. And even though we like to hate on things, we only hate on the things that we actually have and do. So it goes back to that old saying of, what is it? Goggins likes to say, you'll never meet a hater that's doing better than you. And as I said, that's the simplified version of, cool, show me your podcast that did better than this, and then you can talk shit about it. And to be honest with you, if I had a podcast, like if someone came to me and said, damn, Josh, look at this. I just got my first ever 50 downloads in 24 hours on my first episode, or not on the first episode, but in my podcast, I just got 50 downloads in 24 hours. This is the first time. I would be like, shit, man, congratulations. Because you want to know why? Because I know what it took to get there. So I wouldn't take the opportunity. And that's how you know people who are fucking real and people who are just shitheads. The simple fact that if somebody's questioning you or saying shit about, oh, you only got 116 downloads, I know it's because you ain't done shit. Because like I said, if I'm the one that if someone came to me and said, oh, hey, Josh, I just got 50 downloads on an episode within 24 hours, I'd be fucking saying, congratulations, dude. That's fucking awesome. And you want to know why I would say that? Because I know what the fuck it took to get there. And I'm not going to talk shit about somebody when it's something I've done. Because I get it. I know what it took to do that. And that's an accomplishment. And anybody that says otherwise, they likely have not done it. And if they have done it, they're probably just an asshole. But the wrong type of asshole. So fuck them. Fuck, man. Anyways, what else you got? You got anything else to add?
Shit. Well, we have the 3 months and 1 year, but shit, man.
I was gonna say, let's just do it when we hit it. Let's just talk about it when we get there.
All right, that's fair. And also, might as well do the Paul Heyman shit. Hide the negatives and accentuate the positives, because this episode has really been more about the accomplishments than it is about
the negatives. Yeah.
And also, one thing for sure that has changed also is I realize now that we only have so much bandwidth as far as work or effort. So the episodes, for full disclosure, have been somewhat truncated to accommodate possibly doing 2 to 3 episodes in one day. And I think my personal logic is that we're going to apply what we don't like about wrestling, which is being a diluted program sometimes and squeezing the most out of a 1 hour limit or constraint. And not to say that's a hard restriction or a hard limit to just be 1 hour, but it's like, how can we make the most out of 1 hour? So when you're listening, hopefully it comes across that, we're not just making an episode and if we get to the 1 hour and 30 minute mark, that 30 minutes is dog shit because we thought we needed to do more time or whatever bullshit logic that we made in our head. Now it's just about what's the best we can do for, an hour, I guess.
Yeah. What's this episode about? And let's talk about it for an hour and knock it out. And then, yeah, sometimes as is necessary, the episodes do go an hour and a half sometimes. I've never said, oh man, we should never put a cap on the episodes, right? And I think that if the episode requires it and we're talking about the same topic and we can talk about it, if we're debating the same topic for 2 hours and it's interesting, cool. I think that's fine. But most of the shit we talk about, you can get blown out in an hour. Like right now, I mean, we're pretty much at the end of the episode here for the most part. And it's been an hour and almost 10 minutes, so I think that that's indicative of, hey, increasing the quality of the content itself, not just the quality of the production, but the quality of the actual content is to truncate it a little bit. Like you said, it's the WWE treatment. All the things we hate about it, we're fucking up. We're taking those out. No more 3 hour Monday Night Raws. It's only, you get 60 minutes to get your point across. And if you can't fucking do it in 60 minutes, we stop and we'll record a second fucking episode about it. And also it does help because it makes you feel like you've done more. Because if we sat here and did a 2 hour podcast and a 1 hour podcast, that's 3 hours, but we only made 2 episodes, as opposed to if we cut everything into hour segments. Oh, cool. Well, we just made 3 episodes instead of, we just, what is it? 1.5 times our fucking, our output basically by just cutting shit or making shit around an hour. So I don't know. I think it's a good idea. And I think we should continue that process.
Yeah. And, I feel as though up until this point, as far as 2024 goes, man, this has been a monster fucking year. Just talking about productivity, I've never felt like I've slacked off or we've just been putting out 4 hours every fucking week. As far as the monthly goals that we made recently, posting 3 times a week, we're doing that. Timestamps for clips, doing that as well. It just feels as though all the right things are going in our favor. I definitely need to work on myself as far as physical fitness goes, just so I have a balance between the professional shit and my own personal stuff. But I think overall, this is probably, I mean, even for us being only 10 months in, this is our best year yet. But yeah, I think things are looking up, and shit, man, I can't wait to see where we're going to be in 8 months, to see how much better we're getting at this, and also to see how much more progress we've made. And I mean, shit, none of this is possible. I mean, as much work as we can put in, as much effort we can put in, we still need an audience or community of people to listen. So, I mean, shit, we appreciate you guys putting 1 hour, 2 hours of your time. If you're listening to one podcast or many, I mean, we basically couldn't have done this without you. So we offer our fucking thank yous and shit. I got my hands lubed up to jerk off as many people as possible. And, I don't know if I have anything more to add than that, but yeah, super big thanks to anybody that has streamed this podcast, and we'll figure out ways to reciprocate that. At the moment, it's just paid live events from WWE in our Discord that you can watch for free. And you can find that link in, I think, in any of the social media accounts. But I would like to start finding out how we can give back. And it's not, I'm not trying to bait people so that to say that if I give out a gift, I need 100 followers. I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not going to beg for anything the same way that I don't beg for interviews. I'm just going to reward the people that are already here. I'm going to make everybody feel like they are validated, or that they're valued. And we're not trying to con you we're not trying to con you to listen. Because if you don't think we're interesting, then fuck, we shouldn't be doing this. Like,
yeah, don't listen to us then. Fuck.
But bottom line is, like, thank you for anybody that listens and continues to listen. We'll make it up to you if we end up getting anywhere with this.
Yeah, I agree that. And if you guys want to stand tip to tip, we can jerk off 4 of you at the same time, which is optimal jerking maneuvers. I did want to say that the one thing I did slack off for sure on this year was my Millennial Frog album. I missed the one for fucking March. So now I'm pissed. So I should have said this at the beginning of the episode, but whatever. I'll do it on the next ones that we do. Stay tuned. March 15th, 3 Millennial Frog albums will be dropping at the same time.
March or May?
March. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, May 15th. Fuck, I forgot what month we're in. Yeah, May 15th. So in just a few weeks, we will be dropping Millennial Frog's 3rd, 4th, and 5th studio albums all at the same time. It'll be Poverty of Content, 30-Second Master, and The Gentleman Known as Millennial Frog.
It's fucking hilarious.
It's fucking hilarious. So stay tuned for that.
If you want to know why that's funny to us, if you want to know the inside joke, listen to the Brain Story album review on All Gas No Trash podcast, because man, that was a ripper. That was a banger of a clip, dude.
That was, man. That's the greatest clip ever.
And not to self-promote or anything, but there are other podcasts you can listen to. The Anime Syndicate with Frank and Josh, where they go over a bunch of animes. And we also have Game Rage TV and movies for your fill on the latest movies and latest TV series. And of course, there is BFN, which is the program that you're currently listening to, which is buttfuckery and debauchery. And just kind of like the meta podcast of like what's going on personally. Yeah. And all this shit. And then what else is there that we have?
We have All Gas No Trash. Did you say that
Yeah,
one?
I already said
CUP, the Central Intelligence podcast for
current events and
whatnot. So and geopolitics, you can check that out. And then we have a Star Wars one that we did a little bit about, and we're gonna start back up again probably. And then we have a gaming one that we haven't done in a little while, but we're probably gonna do an episode or two of those in the next couple of months. Team Killing Glitchtards. And then Panel to Panel is the comic book one. We haven't done that one in a bit. So maybe we'll do that another one of those. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
see where it goes.
And I don't know if you guys, if you're allowed to announce this, but since we're already here, the tabletop podcast.
Yeah, that's going to be the new one that I talked about earlier. We're going to be doing a tabletop RPG podcast. We have it down to 2 names, and we're gonna bring Frank's nephew Ruben. He's gonna come on as a member of the network, and he's gonna be on that show because he's playing as one of the characters. So we're basically gonna be playing D&D, and then we're gonna be playing the Warhammer 40K. I think it's called Wrath and Glory is the name of it. It's like a D&D style thing set in the D&D or the 40K universe. And we're going to have that going. And then we're also going to be doing actual Warhammer 40K. And there's going to be a lot of content coming out for that because we're going to have a lot of shit I'm going to do tutorials. Like we're going to do all kinds of crazy shit for that. So that's going to be fun. And it's going to be video content. So that'll be on our YouTube channel. You can probably check that out. That'll probably start coming out in like June because we're working on that right now. So yeah, that'll be fucking awesome. And that's just, again, another thing like we had talked about, taking stuff you enjoy doing and turning it into productivity and turning it into content. So stay tuned for that. Frank DMs all of our, he's always the DM because I just don't have the fucking bandwidth to fucking do it. And he's pretty good at it. So if you want to hear a pretty all right podcast about D&D, stay tuned for whatever the hell it's going to be. We'll talk about it on future episodes of whatever the name's going to be, because we're going to let Ruben decide, because me and Frank came up with 2 names and we're going to let Ruben pick which one he wants. And so I think he might have had a brain aneurysm because I had told him that, and he didn't respond. So I think the pressure's getting to him. But I said, hey, he's going to be like that fucking meme where the guy, what's his name from the Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's like, he's got all the things on the board, and it's going to be him with trying to pick the name. Yeah. And I was just like, man, that'd be pretty funny. So anyways, all right. Well, that's the end of it. So yeah, thanks for listening, everyone out there. And yeah, we're going to try to maybe, pay it back to you guys eventually in ways we can. Hopefully with more content.
Well, not eventually. We'll do it as we think of things in the moment, because we don't want to wait till after the fact. We want it to be concurrent with how we're progressing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So anyways, all right. Well, that's the end of it. So thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. This has been the Butt Fuck Nowhere Show. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. Also on Twitter /X at Game Rage Mag. Also visit our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com, for a host of other podcasts and more. Thanks for listening.